By the 6th century, the Roman Empire was thoroughly Christianized. The old temples were being dismantled, and the state dictated the boundaries of acceptable thought. Here is a mosaic depicting Emperor Justinian. In 529 CE, he exercised absolute authority and issued a decree outlawing the teaching of pagan philosophy. This photograph shows the overgrown ruins of Plato's Academy in Athens, forced to close its doors and cutting off a millennium of continuous teaching. For a long time, historians recorded the shuttering of the Academy as a hard stop. The classical intellectual tradition, according to the official timeline, was dead. But this surviving 6th century manuscript complicates that timeline. It's a sophisticated Greek commentary on Aristotle's logic. The credited author is Elias, a common, safely orthodox name heavily associated with Christian monks. An Orthodox Christian monk in this era would typically rely heavily on scripture. Yet, this commentary contains 0 biblical references. Instead, we find 15 quotes from Homer, 22 from Plato, and dozens across the pagan intellectual heavyweights. The content goes entirely against church doctrine. The author openly argues that the physical universe is eternal, contradicting the Christian creation narrative. He also teaches that students can achieve assimilation with the divine purely through studying philosophy. A devout Christian believed that reaching the divine required faith and divine grace. A monastic author simply would not write a textbook instructing students to bypass grace and read Plato instead. The credited identity and the written words do not align. These ruins belong to the ancient lecture halls of Alexandria, Egypt. The text we have reads less like a quiet monastic meditation and more like a transcript of a lively, theatrical professor speaking directly to a room full of students. In the preface to his commentary on Aristotle, the author outlines his strict rules for the ideal commentator. He demands total objectivity from the scholar. He writes that a commentator must not act like an actor wearing a mask, blindly defending whatever philosopher they are studying. Instead, they must remember that while the author is a dear friend, truth is the better friend. He explicitly forbids loyalty to any specific philosophical school if it conflicts with raw facts. This deep commitment to secular objectivity further distances the text from any religious institution. We have to look elsewhere for the real author. A close examination of the manuscript history reveals that these commentaries actually circulated completely anonymously for centuries. The name Elias was attached much later. One leading hypothesis suggests the author was a practicing pagan who taught Greek philosophy to a Christian audience. Later on, scribes working in monasteries recognized the sheer educational value of the logic texts. To prevent them from being destroyed, they invented a pious Christian author as a protective cover. Another theory looks to Justinian's own legal codes from the year 541, which mention a high-ranking regional administrator, a Byzantine prefect named Elias. This beautifully illuminated manuscript page shows how expensive and valued these books were. If the prefect Elias was the author, it means wealthy upper-class Christians were openly studying and teaching classical pagan logic. They treated it as a mark of elite status. Whether pagans were smuggling their teachings under fake names, or Christian elites were ignoring imperial decrees to study Aristotle, the intellectual lines of the 6th century were heavily blurred. We still do not have definitive proof of who actually delivered these lectures, but the physical existence of the document proves something much larger. While Justinian successfully shut down the Academy in Athens, he failed to stop the curriculum. The deep study of antiquity simply moved across the Mediterranean to places like Alexandria. This animation illustrates the 2 paths ancient knowledge took to survive. It either disguised itself under orthodox pseudonyms, or it assimilated into the education systems of the new Christian administrative state. The commentaries attributed to Elias show that political mandates rarely manage to erase intellectual history. The pursuit of classical truth adapted, evolved, and endured.